Thokozani sanibonani. Um, in this video, I have been meaning to do this video for quite some time, where I'm going to be sharing, the sacred knowledge about the goats or imbuzi, particularly for us, the African indigenous people that are using these goats, and we don't even understand why these goats particularly are chosen to do the work that we are using them for, and many other things. Okay, so that's what this video is all about. I've been meaning to do this for quite some time, and I keep on forgetting, and then that's the thing. So that's what the video is all about. Now, there's a video that I'm going to attach here where I did a why are we using goats, to why we slaughter goats when we are doing ancestral work. And then there's also, that particular video that I'm going to link into this description. So I'm not going to go and explain again what I had shared there. Now, this is what I had found very interesting, which is why I'm doing this video about the goats. Guys, number one, the most critical thing that I had discovered was that the goat's milk, which is the milk, which is now what we call soy milk, it is similar to the milk of a mother, a breast milk of a mother. That was the one thing that just blew me away. And this I also discovered when my child was suffering from eczema. Actually, both my children had eczema, but the younger one, that is when I had this discovery where I ended up having to take him off a cow's milk and give him isomilk or soy milk. And that's when he stopped reacting to dairy products, to reacting through his skin. So that is when I learned this about this goat's milk, although I never went into detail. Now, further as I journeyed now, this is also what I then discovered, that one primary thing about goats is that the goat milk or the blood of the goat is actually colder. It is not a warm-blooded animal. The goat versus a chicken or versus a sheep, the goat is the one that is cold. Now, the reason we are supposed to be eating goat meat instead of the other meat, number one, that is for that reason. We are warm-blooded animals. So already the things like chicken, because the chicken is a bird. So the heart rate of a bird, because of its nature, it is always running around its bees and all of that. So it is warm-blooded. So now when we are eating anything that is also warm-blooded, we are actually increasing the inflammation, which is the heat within our bodies. You see? So that is the number one thing that we need to understand, that it was not just decided that we will eat when we have these ceremonies, then we'll use the goat versus the chicken, or the sheep or the cow, because those things have got its own place. Now, what I also find interesting was that, for an example, with the chicken, I know the story that I heard from my mother, my mother's sister in this case, because so now my mother then was sharing that, when we were growing up, they only ate chicken when they were either visitors or they ate chicken. They will then be given the leftovers. So the whole chicken, because my grandfather was a king, so and he had many wives. So when he's visiting that particular wife, then they will know what he's coming, and then he'll be cool. They'll cook chicken, and then he will eat the chicken first and only give them the leftovers. Now I know also with my grandmother, now the other grandmother where I was raised, she used to say that we shouldn't be eating eggs, we shouldn't be eating a lot of chicken, because why? Number one, the chickens, as in now, the chickens are fed hormones. So one of the things that I also discovered when I was having ovarian cyst, or when I was diagnosed with endometriosis, was that chicken was one of the major contributing thing that was contributing to these hormonal imbalance, because now the chicken is induced with these external hormones, you see. Now, what is most important for me to, as such a discovery, is that, or a remembering, because these things we had always known, we just forgotten, and unfortunately I have been reminded, and now I'm sharing. That's the reason then the men will be the ones that will be given first, the men of the house. It is because the men in their nature, they are the ones that are busy, that are supposed to be out there. So as they are doing and doing and doing and doing, they are reducing the level of heat within themselves. So now when they eat meat or eat chicken, they are actually inducing or adding on. It's like they are recharging their body, you see. It had nothing to do with them being stingy, them looking out for themselves first, and not giving the women and the children what is due, or sharing, which is what we were later perceived to believe, or led to believe that has been an idea. That is why we're not eating. We are not eating chicken because we shouldn't be eating any of those, particularly if we are women, because we of the nature and what we are carrying. Remember, the woman also carries the eggs, just like the chicken. Now, what I found interesting is that the very same chicken that we are not supposed to be eating, it is the very thing that we are eating, that we are taught and led to believe, and it is all over. And it made in so many ways. Your chicken licken, your KFC, your Nando's, it's all about chicken. And chicken, it is the least expensive, so it is easily accessible. It is no wonder that today many of us, especially women, we are suffering with womb issues and hormonal imbalance, guys. Hey. Now, with that being said, now let's go back to the goat. The goat, guys, it is one between the goat and the sheep. Ne? The goat is the one, it is that type of an animal that it is very curious by nature. It has got a very like bubbly, or like out personality, like a person, like quite a personality, which is outgoing, curious, and it's very vigilant, clever. Because even if you have goats, you will see that when you have goats and sheep, they just sit there, they just follow. The goat, they are very clever. But over and above that, what I had found interesting was that the goats, when they eat more. Their first food that they eat from the trees. That's why when there's trees, they will reach out, or wherever they go, they first reach out to the trees and eat off the leaves of the trees. Now, what I had found interesting was also that they do not just eat any other tree. They eat a tree that is carrying a certain medicinal properties, guys. So that is why the goats, in their nature, they are even more slimmer. They are slimmer than the sheep, than the cows, because they are always reaching out, climbing, which is also another element when we are looking at this aspect of us, that we have been, that we are a fallen grace, meaning that we fell. So now we are journeying back to source and remembering aspects of ourselves, which is now another aspect where we are reaching out. So hence the goat, the ancestors or our forefathers, we always knew that the goat plays in its nature. It has got these skills. One last important thing that I also discovered was that the goats have got the horns of the goat. They are shaped like a uterus. They are shaped like a uterus. Now, when you are looking at a uterus, or when you are looking at the shape of Taurus season, because that's what when we are looking at the zodiac signs, it is the Taurus season. Now, a Taurus season, it is linked to a principle in the African cosmology or Kemetic cosmology. It is linked to who we say is a head hero. Head hero is the fertilizer, the goddess of fertilization. Now, guys, one other thing, the blood of the goat. The blood of the goat. In ancient times, when we did not have fertilizers, the blood of the goat, as well as the blood of a woman's menstruation, those were used as fertilizers. They were used as fertilizers. So, meaning our forefathers, our ancient ancestors, they understood far beyond. They understood the science. Hence, then when you are having these ceremonies, they will not just take any other animal. They've got to take an animal that has got these specific characteristics and these particular personalities, because now when we use aspects of that particular animal, it is a representation of who we are, especially when it comes to the cleansings themselves. And when we are doing, hence the goat yekalai. So now when we are doing these ceremonies, when we imbuzi sisebenzisela, for an example, when there's going to be a wedding or umsebenzi, then we'll slaughter a goat first, and then we are using it to send a message and say to the ancestors, this siyabiga ngayo, which is why we do that is because the goat will always cry. It cries like it, and then when it cries, it does this thing, meh, as if it is saying mama, it's crying to mother. It's the goat. Unlike the sheep can be killed and it will still be sitting there. It will not even. This one can even run away, guys. If there's things that is being done or not done correctly, the goat, So really, I found this very interesting, and I then was led or was guided to come and share this information here in this platform so that we can understand the science behind the things that we are doing. Our forefathers were not just doing things just for the sake of doing it. They were doing things because there was this understanding. Now, see what has happened. Then the goat meat, you don't find it. I'm talking about here in South Africa. You don't find it in shops. And when it is sold, it is more expensive. And two, it is not, when you go there, any supermarket, you will not easily find goat meat. It is not even there, because that is the meat that is cold in nature, and it works better with our system versus these other warm-blooded animals that are increasing the inflammation within our bodies. And then guess what? When we have done things or have not done things properly, now we are asking for intervention from the ancestors. What do we use? We use the cold-blooded animal, which is the goat. Then we'll sacrifice that particular animal, then it goes and gives information on our behalf or share the message on our. Guys, mina really, I'm just blown away with such remembrances. So to me, it became very clear how the agenda to keep us sick, to keep us not having money in our pockets, because if you even look at the goat industry, the people that are farming goats, it is the other, the ones that are of this color, the lighter ones than us. They are the ones in the goat industry. And they are making a killing because we are using the goats. We are the ones that are using the goats. I found it very interesting when I was following this other guy on TikTok, who are in this goat business, and then that they are exporting goat to different places. And I was listening to one of the videos on YouTube, and then this guy was saying they're importing a goat from South Africa. And Tinage, we were made to believe what goats are dirty. Goats, the meat is not supposed to be eaten, because a lot of people who don't eat goat meat, they will tell you what abayibuleli because ikhulumisiwe. And yet, many other foods that we are eating, they are halal. They have a sticker there that is halal. And what that means, that I had learned, what that means was that they were prayed over. So the very thing that we are saying we don't want, it is exactly that what has been done, but not by us, by somebody else, when we prefer eating that over. And the very meat that is good for us to be eating, it is the very meat that we are not eating, because now it is deemed to be evil, it is deemed to be wrong, and the meat that is not good for us, that is causing us disease in many ways, that meat is made to be the beautiful, the nice meat, and then we wonder why we are sick, we wonder why we are having so much inflammation. Whereas the goat on the other side, it knows what type of food that it must eat and not eat. What was also mind-blowing for me was also to realize even the faces, amakaka wembuzi, they are black. It's as if it's stones. And that is the melanin. Let me leave this here. Please comment, please share, please like, but most importantly, share with me what were your own discoveries about the goat. If you haven't, go into the discoveries or research and let us know. But in the meantime, let's wake up and remember who we are and why we do the things we do and why we are doing them the way we are doing them. Till next time, thank you. Much love. Bye-bye.